let us know and we can get you that information. And the last point I'd like to make, you will see a resolution on non-consent for the June 5th board meeting. That resolution will be a request to the board to increase Director Shaw's signature authority to help us move forward with operational effectiveness. Are there any questions about anything?
Any questions?
Concerning written material for us to take, I had requested some information about the transportation that we provided during the World Games, because I'll be attending a reception at one of the embassies where that topic will be up for discussion about how organizations handle mass events like that.
We can get
So
you.
I had asked Charlotte to give me maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs about how we were involved as transportation in the World Games from early planning stages, which we pretty much were not involved in, up to the time the event started, and how we had to get involved at the city's request, and how all that came about, and the results of that. So if I get a 2 or 3 paragraph document describing our participation, that would be very helpful with me in discussing our role during that meeting on Monday night.
Okay. You will have it by end of day tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? We have a capital plan update.
Right, good morning, Board of Directors, C-suite members, and other esteemed guests of the audience. I am Watanji P. Feeney, serve as your Senior Director of Capital Planning and Project Delivery. Thank you all for the opportunity to share a brief update on planning and capital initiatives. At our last committee meeting, Ms. Brittany Thomas, our planning manager, presented upcoming service changes to the board that will go into effect on May 19th, this upcoming Monday. These changes align with our 70-30 program and directly support our mission to connecting people to places, as well as our vision of being the contributing life quality of our communities. Here are the highlighted changes. 6 changes designed to improve frequency, reducing some trip times from 1 hour to 45 minutes, expansion of a microtransit zone into our western area, and improved connectivity between high ridership routes. Mr. Nicholas Tidy will come up and discuss a $1.7 million reallocation and its impact on our October service changes. And following Mr. Tidy, we'll have Mr. Foster come up and share some insight of our stakeholder engagement as it relates to these service changes. After Mr. Foster, I will come back up and close out the planning portion and come and give you a capital update. Mr. Tidy.
Good morning, Board of Directors. As a result of the changes Ms. Watanji has just outlined, we are able to reduce the operating hours of those routes from 54,000 down to 43,000 operating hours per year. Utilizing a cost per operating hour of $155, this translates into that $1.7 million of funds that we were able to reallocate as a result of these alterations. Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Directors. My name is Tavares Foster. I proudly serve as the Senior Director of Customer Experience. Just want to share a few things in regards to our community engagement. We've had several community engagement sessions. 2 that I'd like to highlight is our Lawson State meeting and our Power meeting. We had very positive feedback at both of those meetings. We have other meetings that have been burned out of those meetings because attendees are asking us to come to churches and different events in their community. So feedback has been great. It's been positive. They've been very excited, very drawn into what we're doing and why we're doing it. We will continue to track the feedback after these changes happen. So after these changes go into effect, and we will provide more updates as those changes go into effect and we receive that feedback. And we'll also have the upcoming meetings that we have in the future voting on your board. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, Mr. Tiny, and thank you, Mr. Foster. Board of Directors for performance monitoring, what we would do, we would bring back to the board in post-implementation, is once the routes start on this Monday, the team will come back and share with you all key performance indicators. Talking about how the effects of the routes and what they've done so far, as well as making sure that you go to your board SharePoint drive, all of the information that was shared today, the pamphlet about the route changes, and the cost reallocation spreadsheet is on your board portal as well. With that, I'll move into the capital update. As shared in the previous meeting, the board passed a resolution for Wimbledon. I am happy to announce that we have officially kicked off our Forestdale CNG capital project, which is a major highlight for us. We'll have an upcoming development meeting that's gonna be in June. If you all would like to be in participation of that meeting, please let Ms. Rhonda Nolan know, and we'll make sure that you add it to the agenda for that day. Also, transit-oriented development, TOD. Our TOD Industry Day is scheduled for June the 12th. Board members, if you would like to be present, please notify Ms. Rhonda Nolan so that we can have correct accountability in the room. All invitations and details about all these things that I shared today are uploaded on your board portal. This concludes my planning and capital update. Thank you for your continued support and leadership. I entertain any questions you all may have today.
Any questions?
I'd like to get with you afterwards about one of your graphs on page 8 of 25, if you have time.
Yes, sir. All right.
Ms. Rhonda added me to the TOD list that day.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to say that transit funding has never been real solid, okay? And we need to make sure that we look at all income opportunities outside of our formal funding to get some more funding in. And TOD is one of the areas that we need to be looking at real hard. So let's push, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no resolutions. Any other departments have,
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Amanda Hare, and I serve as the Marketing and Communications Manager for BJCTA. On last Thursday, our CEO was able to be the keynote speaker at the Minority Business Awards, and a few of our executive team members were able to join her in support of her. During that award show, you may have saw that my team has really stepped up our digital content, so much so that we are actually being asked by the event sponsors to share our video with them so that they can share it on our behalf. That video, the recap as well as the keynote message is on your board portal, but we will play a recap of the event here for you today for your viewing. While they're queuing that up, I will say this is just a peek into what we will be doing for our upcoming campaigns that we're working on, including the launch of our mobile app, our website redesign, and our Max on Demand service. At this time, we'll play the video.
Gotta hit the play button.
I think they're working on the audio. We're able to play it, but we're not able to hear it in this room. It will be uploaded to the board portal for you to be able to watch at your convenience. If there are no questions for me, thank you so much for your time.
do you have any other department reports? Didn't have any in the finance committee, so I don't. Yep.
Before we dismiss, I'd like to ask if Darrell Perkins has any comments to make about
Easy.
legislature.
Working? Yeah.
What have I done? Director Parker, you had a question for me, sir?
Do you want to make any remarks about the conclusion of the legislative session in Montgomery?
Sure.
Probably about 2 sentences, right?
It was chaotic, got worse toward the end. We all got involved in the waterworks issue, as you would imagine. That broke down the session on several levels. So toward the end, backing up, there's 105 days for the legislative session. We start the second week in February. It goes for 105 days, 30 legislative days, so it's a marathon. So we started in February, we ended yesterday. Toward the end, it got totally broken down on some local bills and the waterworks. Democrats don't have a whole lot of votes. The one thing they have is they have the ability to filibuster. The rules are different in the House and Senate. In the House, you can only filibuster 10 minutes at a time. In the Senate, you can filibuster for 1 hour, unless you do a cloture vote. So in this sense, you come up and say, Mr. Chairman, I want to start my first hour. And they will talk for an hour in the Senate. So that totally stalled 48 local bills. We had some legislation early on. It was the tag bill. It was done last year. Quite frankly, the tag bill is not going to pass. It was a $5 per tag for every private-owned vehicle in the state. It would have been based on what little over 5 million vehicles, $5 per tag, around $26 million per year, statewide. Now, we look at that tag bill and say, well, it's only $5 per person. Everybody can afford $5. Our Republican friends are going to say, it is a $26 billion tax on hard-working people in Alabama, and we're not going to stand for it. And guess what? They have a vote and we don't. And it's a lot more Republicans than Democrats, so that bill is not going to pass. Not a tag bill, unless we change a whole lot of things along with the rural transit systems. And then if they ever got on board, which Director Shaw tried very hard to get the rural systems to get engaged and come to the table with us, they did not. So without their vote, because the state is still about 62% rural. That's it. So it means you're gonna have a lot more. Remember, even some Democrats have rural districts. So not every Democrat has an urban area. And of course, by federal law, a rural district or rural county is anything that is 50,000 population or less in a county is considered a rural county. About 67 counties, we have 40 that meet the federal definition of a rural county. So we have 40 counties that have a population of less than 50,000 people. We have 8 counties that have a population of less than 25,000 people. We have 1 county that has a population of 10,000 people less. So unless we get those rural caucus members on board and putting pressure on them by those rural transit systems, it's very hard to pass anything like that, because it looks like it's just a Birmingham, Montgomery, Mobile thing. So we're looking at different ways. As Mr. Parker knows, there's been some things floating around that we heard that we've really pushed into. Mr. Parker, I don't want to go too far because it's very delicate right now. You want to give a very quick overview? How you want me to do it? ALDOT, as our understanding, has some dollars that have not been transferred. We're trying to get those dollars transferred to what's called the new workforce department. In the past, our department was called the Department of Labor. It was a cabinet level position, but just like the federal government, there are different levels of cabinet positions. If you look at the federal government, there's a big difference between Secretary of Defense and Secretary of HUD, for instance. It just is. They've changed it to Department of Labor, to Department of Workforce. Secretary Reed would be that, and it's a more elevated cabinet level position. So we're working to get some dollars transferred from ALDOT to the Secretary Reed's office, Secretary of Workforce, and he will be more amenable to this person. I don't want to say a whole lot because conversations are ongoing and very delicate right now. I know I'm not intentionally trying to obfuscate, I'm trying to protect the process. Questions? I'll briefly touch on just built on that. I'll briefly try to touch on, next week. I was just up in DC, I actually got back last night with Birmingham Business Alliance, and we met with, both our senator staff, we did not meet with senators, and of course, Ms. Sewell here. Here was the message we left from the Birmingham Business Alliance, and we had business CEOs in that meeting. What we talked about was, I said this in every meeting we had, there is a symbiotic relationship between the Birmingham Business Alliance and the business community and the transit authority. I told that to every staff member and every member we met. And the Birmingham Business Alliance realizes that transit is part of workforce, is part of job creation and job retention. That's the message that was left with both staff and members this week in Congress. So what I want to do is continue that message next week with us saying the exact same thing, and you'll get that. We work on today, if not tomorrow, by Monday. You'll have some talking points and some bios everyone we meeting with. So one of the messages is transit is a part of workforce, it's a part of job creation, it's a part of job retention, and it's job expanding businesses in our region. Now I'll take questions again.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Perkins?
I said that without breathing, by the way. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Do you have any unfinished business? Any new business? Planning programs, development, committee meetings, and all that.
Thank you, Terry. We'll go ahead and move forward to calling the operating committee meeting order. So can we establish a roll call, please?
Committee Chair Cunningham. Director Davis. Chair Jones, excuse me.
Here.
You have a form.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? So. And I will second that, so the agenda has been adopted. Next is the approval of the minutes from March 20th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? So. And I second that motion. So the minutes from March 20th, 2025 have been approved. I'm not sure if you all covered this in your planning meeting. You said an executive director's report. Okay. Can we hear it again? I'm sorry. Yeah. For my purposes. Appreciate it.
Good morning again. Director Shaw is on travel, but I want to go over 3 points that we talked about earlier. One, as you all know, the after legislative conference is next week. I encourage you all, if you have not viewed your emails, to look at several calendar invites that you should have received for different activities that we have going on while we'll be in DC, and we would love to have your participation in those activities. Also, we encourage you to download the After Meetings app. If you don't have it on your phone, we can walk you through what that app looks like. But it's a really good app to assist you with all after conferences, and it has sort of the lay of the land, or all the agenda items that you would need in different courses that will be taking place during that conference. And lastly, we'll be forwarding you a one-pager, as Mr. Perkins alluded to, that has talking points to assist you with your Capitol Hill visits. Also, the Regional Planning Commission has invited BJCTA to participate, or to present rather, at their upcoming committees. And so on May 21st and 22nd, Trey Foster will be presenting, sort of going over some of the innovations and improvements that we made as an June 5th board meeting, you will see a resolution that will be requesting an increase in Director Shaw's signature authority to assist the agency with operational effectiveness. Any questions or comments?
So those calendars, I guess those scheduled events that's gonna be next week, those, for lack of better words, highly requested command orders, or just, are they BJCTA related, or are they transit industry related? Just trying to set the tone for those that are going, so we can know exactly the why behind and the importance of being there and or not being there.
Right. Well, good question, and actually they're all of the above. So we will have, we would like to have you present for a networking event that we have. It's a dinner that we'll like to have with the board and the staff members who will be attending. And then again, you will receive calendar invites for your designated Capitol Hill visits. Several of you have signed up for visits, and you'll have that information as well. And then those of you who are staying with us for the Women Who Move the Nation conference, that agenda item will be on your calendar as well. Any other questions?
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we don't have any resolutions for discussion, but we do have on the agenda department reports, so I would imagine should we expect to hear from every department head?
We have a few designated departments, yes.
If we want to hear from more, can we?
Yes.
Okay, we have time, so.
Okay, well, good morning. I'm Stanley Lacey, and I serve as the Senior Director of Operations, and I'll be giving you the operations report for the month of April. Operation report is as follows. On the fixed route side, we had 71 full-time operators and 3 part-time operators. We were 16 operators short, which left the department 84% staffed and 16% of operators' position vacant. We have 4 operators in safety and route training, and I wanted to address and highlight that part of the 70-30 plan was to reduce the workforce shortage. And part of those changes that Planning spoke about, Watanji spoke about, actually has a positive effect on our workforce shortage because it reduced our numbers of assignments from 78. Currently we have 78, and starting May 19th, we will have 72. So that addresses the manpower shortage and help us also reach 100% coverage daily. On the paratransit side, we had 30 full-time operators and 2 part-time operators, and we are 8 operators short. And the paratransit department is 80% staffed with 20% of operator positions vacant. And that's also a micro step in a positive direction because just being 8 operators short, we foresee that we could make that adjustment. On the microtransit side, we have 1 full-time operator and 10 part-time operators, 1 dispatcher and 2 supervisors. Microtransit is 72% staff and 28% of microtransit positions are vacant. Microtransit had a total of 3,469 max on-demand rides completed for the month of April. And that's a small incremental step up from 3,427 we had the previous month. We also had a total of 168 airport trips, which is a slight improvement from the previous month of 167. Our max transit completion rate for April was 88%, and that is holding steady. We've been pretty consistent in the 88th percentile. And we also received a total of 497 5-star rating, and that is up from the previous month of 457. Our on-time performance for fixed route, the BRT, is 87%, and that is up 1% from 86% in March. And on the fixed route side, we were 61%, and that is a slight increase from March where we performed at 60%. Paratransit, we are 66% on time and 34% late, and we are working and having continual training and as an operations department, we meet every morning at 9 a.m. to go over operation efficiencies and how we can improve the effectiveness of our operations. So we meet daily to address some of these shortcomings that we have. But as you hear the numbers, we are trending in a positive direction. It might not have been a great leap, but it's been small micro steps in a positive direction. So each month we're improving. Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had that look on my face.
Yeah.
On-time performance, I know we got the fixed route, 61%, 60% last month. Industry average is about what just for the fixed route?
And it depends on what industry. Like at the last authority I worked at, it was 78.5% was the target, and they were looking to increase that. But industry ride, it varies from transit to transit.
Got it.
But
Okay.
our KPIs right now is 70%.
Gotcha.
Once we hit 70, we want to
Got
adjust that.
And I certainly understand, I would imagine we all understand the shortage in operators, so how that would affect on-time performance. But what are some of the barriers when it comes to, I am concerned about the paratransit, because that's a certain segment of our population that we're serving, so I'm very concerned about the on-time versus late. What are some of the barriers that we are experiencing that would prevent us from at least getting that up to like 80% on time for paratransit? That's very important.
It is, and we take it very seriously. Some of the barriers is just really the shortage. When you have roughly 350 to 400 trips per day, and we only have 30 operators in our workforce, and that's not including off days, vacation. So the shortage would be a barrier, but we are addressing those barriers, right? We are in conversations with Uber, have Uber pick up the ambulatory customers that we have on paratransit. We in talks with Class Tran as well to also farm trips to Class Tran, some of the trips that they could do to take off. We could give them our overfield trips. So we are working on addressing that, but you're right, it is important.
So if you had the ability to kind of give a time frame, right? A time frame of addressing the barriers, to increasing it going from 64% to 75%, or do you do a crawl, walk, run with it? I would imagine you want to do a walk versus a crawl just because of who we're serving. Time frame, 2 months, 3 months, to where you think we can get that paratransit up to a more acceptable, based off of the barriers that you're facing.
Right. No, that's a good question. And we're working with HR to get the positions filled. But if I had to give a timeline, it'll be approximately about 6 months, because it takes time to go through the paperwork to get the pilot with Uber, to go through the paperwork to get the things done with Class Tran. So yes, ma'am. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, and I also like to add, one of the other barriers is the number of people that we actually have on the roads in terms of who are signed up for the service. So our compliance department, led by Keisha Harville, is actually looking at a recertification process for the individuals that are subscribed to that program. We actually have, I think, upwards of 3,000 individuals. So we're really looking to make sure they're actually qualified for the service, which will help a lot.
Thank you, Deputy.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Board of Directors. I'm William Taylor, serve as the Acting Senior Director of Maintenance. I want to take you back just a bit. A few months back, we negotiated a $1.7 billion contract for renewable natural gas with clean energy. Well, today we have another good news story. We were able to save about $156,000 in maintenance requirements. If we had not been attentive and done so, we would have been obligated to pay those invoices submitted. So that deserves a round of applause. All right, so I'll continue on. The performance for this month of April, we did above average with our fleet performance. Our goal for MDBF is about 5,000 miles in between failure. And I'll just go back and talk about our KPI MDBF that we use to measure our fleet's performance. It represents the average distance a vehicle can travel before a mechanical failure occurs that requires it to be taken out of service. This results in a delay of service. So when we swap passengers, that's considered a reportable defect to the National Transit Database. And that, in fact, is divided into our mean distance between failure mileage. Essentially, when we measure NDBF, the higher the number, the better our fleet condition is. The lower the number, the worse our fleet condition is. So for this month, for the month of April, our fixed route MDBF was 6,573 miles in between failures. Our BRT performance was about 5,896 miles in between failures. Our paratransit performance was 11,573 miles between failure. And our last fleet, our microtransit fleet, was 24,000 miles between failure. We will continue to improve our fleet maintenance program by implementing industry best standards to keep our assets in a state of good repair. Any questions thus far? All right, lastly, let's talk about our CNG station.
I have a request, not a question. Looking through this, I do think it, because those numbers are incredible. But I do think it would be great for the general public, because they can't see, most of them probably not seeing what we're looking at. The numbers that you said are pretty much, they beat the benchmarks, right? So could you go over each benchmark for each one of those with paratransit? Because I think that's something that that we should be applauded for, because I think you're doing a fantastic job. So that's if I'm looking at these reports accurately. So for an example, you have a benchmark of, I'm trying to read this accurately, so it's your report, so I'm trying to read it. But it's for paratransit, for an example, the benchmark is 5,000 miles.
Correct.
But in the month of April, we went 11,573 miles without any issues. To me, that's positive.
Yes, it is.
So I'm just saying, if we can kind of, for each one that you just mentioned, each one of those miles that we've gone without any issues, what's the benchmarks that correlates to them? Because I think that's some good stuff, some good information to relay.
Okay, so in percentage-wise, like what you just mentioned about paratransit fleet, we were 68% above the goal or the benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
And for fixed route fleet, we're approximately 31% above the goal. And for microtransit, we're 68. I take that back. I have two of the same percentages, but I know the numbers are different. But yes, we definitely can add that. Now, I'm hoping I answered your question right. You said to publish.
Just mention it. No, just verbally. You
just
did
just
verbally
like
mention it, because I think that's positive. That's positive data.
Yeah.
So just because I think if people just listening in and hear,
Okay.
6,000 miles without any issues, what does that mean when you compare it to the benchmark, the industry average, which we're doing great compared to industry average?
Okay, and that's what I was hoping I would answer by explaining to MDPF that when you see a higher number, because our goal is to increase these numbers as well.
You did a great job.
That means our fleet is continually getting better. Thank you, very good feedback. All right, if we're ready for the CNG station update, we're currently at 50% of our refueling capacity right now. We do have a couple of major repairs being done to 2 of our units out of the 4, and we hope to have those units up around the end of June, because these parts had to be back ordered. Other than that, we'll just continue to keep our plans for mitigation in our back pocket if needed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
On your BRT road calls,
Yes.
what happened in April? It dropped quite a bit from the previous month.
Yeah, we did have, quite a few more reportable defects, that month. I can grab my computer because it's an extensive list and give you those, after the meeting. Because, this data is very complex and you have to break it down, individually, when explained.
Was there any one event that, or is the fleet now to the point that we're gonna start seeing, even though it may be in positive numbers, but a decreasing number of miles each month?
No,
I'm just curious about why it dropped so much
yeah,
in that 1 month.
I can follow up with you after the meeting
All right.
because I do have those details.
Yeah,
And,
just send me an
but
email.
the fleet is not in trouble. Let me just comment on those. I say the fleet is not in trouble. The trend for this month is actually improving so far, but I'll share those details with you or and anyone else after the meeting, because unfortunately they're in my laptop right now.
All right.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning to the board of directors, C-suite, and esteemed colleagues. My name is Christopher Brewster. I serve as your Director of Safety and Security, and I will be as brief and thorough as possible. In the area of safety and security, we're in a constant state of being preventative preparedness, readiness, and also reactiveness. So what we want to concentrate on today and introduce today is the first part is for being preventative when it comes down to safety and security issues. I have two representatives, John and Ben with Cardiac Solutions, excuse me, and we are currently involved in a program which involves AEDs, and we have it in our facilities now. What we want to introduce you today is just a brief introduction for a future resolution to expand that onto our buses as well. Other agencies, city, county, law enforcement is already currently involved. And lastly, I'd like to say that because we did have, at our facilities, we have had two recorded saves where they were able, our security force were able to use devices to save lives. So I'll get out the way and let them give a brief introduction of the product. Thank you.
Good morning, board. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you. My name is John Sill. I'm the CEO of Cardiac Solutions based here in Birmingham. You guys have been our partner, I don't like the word vendor, for the past 8 years. And whenever we have saves, documented saves, I like to come and say thank you because at one point in time, you had to approve that purchase for those defibrillators. So we're just trying to expand the program now so that we protect everyone. We know that sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 reason for death on a job site. So today I've got with me Ben Yother, our Director of Sales, and he's going to show you a little quick demo on the AEDs and we'll take any questions.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, just like John said, for partnering with us and seeing the value in adding AEDs, CPR education. And there are two families that would thank you because loved ones were sent home because that decision was made. Our ask is just that you would consider expanding that program even into the vehicles. This is an industry trend. Specifically over the last few years with the ongoing crisis of opioid epidemic, where we do see higher rates of cardiac arrest when we have an opioid overdose, respiratory arrest. We do have Narcan, Naloxone that will treat respiratory arrest, but you do need an AED and CPR to treat the resulting cardiac arrest. So I'll show you the unit. This is a mobile unit. This is what you'll see in areas. MARTA has mobile units. In Boston, they have AEDs. There was actually a gentleman, a patron who went into cardiac arrest while riding in one of their vehicles. They did not have a program in place by the time EMS arrived. It was too late. They now have a program because of that. The exact same thing happened recently in Orlando, where there was a death. Long wait for EMS to arrive. Unfortunately, that result was not a good one. And so they've implemented a program as well. We would love to see that program implemented here before we have a situation like that. This is the device. Very intuitive. You turn it on, it tells you exactly what to do.
Like John said, we are based here locally in Birmingham, so we provide all ongoing support, training. We will do continual training. We do that with a lot of our customers where we do see some higher rates of turnover. So we'll continue to partner with you as well if this program is expanded. But again, you can see it's got a very small footprint. It's not going to take up much space wherever we have them, and hopefully it will result in more lives saved in the future. So thank you very much for letting us be here.
I have a question. Where is the Narcan located?
So we have a custom case. It's not one that we brought with us, but we do have a custom case that will hold, this by the way, is a tiny camera that's staring at the readiness indicator of this AED all the time. So if there's ever an issue, we are alerted because we have a team that monitors that. We don't need Wi-Fi, it's over a cellular network. And so on a daily basis, we can see the status of your AEDs. If you fly out of Birmingham on your next flight, you'll see this camera and this AED. They are a partner of ours as well at the Birmingham Airport. We have these throughout the city of Birmingham. We also have them in Birmingham Police Department, Birmingham City Schools. But there's a little place that's notched out that will hold 2 doses of Narcan as well in this case. So it is a cardiac arrest response kit. It's also an opioid overdose response kit. And that's all included in the program.
How long does that Narcan last?
That's a great question. So there are different manufacturers have different shelf life on it. Typically, you're going to see 2 years on a dose if it's not broken, if it's not opened. The AED device has a lifespan of 8 years or warranty life of 8 years.
Because I've been experienced with Narcan, I just wanted to know the product. I've seen people in opioid overdose and they hit Narcan and they back up like nothing ever happened.
Yes, and that's why if that Narcan is administered very quickly, then we don't have to worry about the AED because we don't have the resulting cardiac arrest. I have high school kids, they have it in their car because you never know what's going to happen in the high school parking lot. True. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
One last thing, if I may. I know we have one of our defibrillators right down the hallway right here. If the board will approve, I'd like to donate an AED and a cabinet inside the chambers. I think that's important. I've done presentations to council, city councils, commission meetings, et cetera, and whenever I leave, I like to know that we've got an AED in the room. So I'll let you guys decide that behind the doors, but I like to see that happen here.
Well, we sure appreciate that generosity as well as, to me, if it's just, even if you save one life, that's the return on the investment right there. I mean, that pays for it. That's the return on the investment. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Chris, thank you for bringing them to the tables. Have any other department reports?
Yeah, we wanted to bring marketing back up. We have the video ready now.
Thank you, Deputy Walker. So now the video that I mentioned earlier, the recap of the event at the Minority Business Awards is available to view at this time.
Either I was gonna make it or I wasn't. So it wasn't a choice for me. I wanted to succeed. And I want to leave a legacy here in Birmingham of leaders who are high performers. So the same is true with your companies.
Charlotte, after hearing you, I feel like we're bonded. I feel like we're there. And if you're honest, let's be honest, we look nothing alike. Nothing. But you spoke to my heart tonight because sometimes we don't know where our purpose is meant to be.
Charlotte, you spoke to my heart as well. One of my colleagues are here with us, and I didn't want to tell him, but Jesse, we'll hear some of that at principals meeting again.
I knew with the team that I had to build, we had to get some high performers. And I don't mean high achievers, that's the difference. There are high achievers and there are high performers. High achievers are skilled. High achievers might be the smartest person in the room, but high performers are influential. High performers get you to believe in them. High performers are leaders who have followers, and high performers are followers who can lead. High performers change things. High performers believe in the mission. But high achievers are smart, and we need them too. But on my team, I don't look for high achievers. I look for performers who can talk about this mission statement, who can get the bus drivers who drive our company to believe in what we do every day. So what am I saying to you? Recenter the mission, because what you've done might not be working anymore. We can't worry about what's happening in Washington, D.C. You worry about what's happening at home. So when you recenter the mission, you get people to believe. You get people to change. So as minority businesses and leaders and presidents of your own companies, you are no stranger to Birmingham to change. You can thrive, you're used to that. You're used to setting the pace, and you're used to developing things to change the world.
It's not, I think it links to a YouTube link, but I can share the original video with you.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all so much.
All right, Director Parker, you asked a question about the BRT fleet and what happened. We had about 4 of those buses had engine-related issues. 2 had fuel-door-related issues that caused the engine to shut off. So we had to fix a couple of body panels. 2 are intermittent, so we're having difficulty finding out what exactly caused the defect. That does happen in this industry. And then we had a brake call as well. So that is a little bit elevated for reportable calls for this fleet, but we're on top of it. And in fact, we've actually had our techs go back for the fuel door related issues. Since we had 2 of those, let's check the rest of the fleet and make sure they're not a problem going forward. So we're doing those type of things to still in this way.
So, in my opinion, you carried out corrective action in a timely manner, which is, so,
Yes. Thank you.
that's why we have these graphs and questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks for that update. And also, thanks for sharing that video. That was awesome. So, any more department reports?
No, I think this.
That's it? Sure? All right, that being said, we wrapped up departmental reports. Any unfinished business that we need to discuss as a committee? I don't think there's any new business, so let's